Okay. All right, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David, Baruch Hashem, another beautiful day in Eretz Yisrael, the place where everyone should be. Right? It'll be soon. All right, so today is Erev Chanukah, Baruch Hashem, and we've been learning a lot of lessons about Chanukah, right? A lot of nice, beautiful things, and it's always so beautiful how when the Inyan of the Yom fall into our regular Seder Alimut, right? And it falls into our regular learning. We learned about Chanukah, right? But we didn't have to turn the pages. It was just where we were up to. Unbelievable. All right, so today again we're going to learn for the well-being of our soldiers, all of the soldiers throughout the country, wherever they're found. Hashem should protect them, right? I know there's a big fighting going on right now in Gaza. Right now. They surrounded the Russia's house or whatever, and they're there.
They said if he's not there, they'll find him anyway.
And the captives.
And of course the captives. Oh, we dear captive. Oh, Yassi's back. Oh, Baruch Hashem. Oh, how are you, Yassi? The guys left?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Yassi's back.
So they left or right now?
Yeah, they did a flight this morning, 7 o'clock.
No, you didn't get the joke. I said, are they left or right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, they'll be all right. They're going to be all right.
Eventually.
Okay, here we go. So we were in the middle of discussing. We're in Likutey Halachos, Hilchos Birchas Hashachar, the morning blessings, right? Morning blessings. We're up to Halacha Gimel 3, and we're in the middle of 41. All right, so we were discussing the idea yesterday about the moon and, of course, the sun. And then the moon says, how come I have no name when the sun comes out, right? The moon is pretty good during the night, right? You can look up, you'll see the moon if it's not a cloudy night, and you get a little light from the moon. But as soon as the sun rises, no more moon. All right. So let's see what the Rebbe says today, and then we're going to try to finish Mem Aleph, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about Chanukah. So it'll be wonderful. We'll do that it'll be on Chanukah, Be'ezrat Hashem. Okay, here we go. We talked a lot about this idea. We just backed up a couple of lines, okay? We talked about a lot about the idea of the moon renewing itself. The moon is always renewing. There's always the moon is always waxing and waning, right? The moon is always changing. The moon is never the same. 2 days, right? Every day it's always different. Everything it's always changing.
Not really, it's always the same.
It's the same, but we see it differently. Yeah, okay. Again, okay, you're right. Okay,
There's a different amount of sunlight on it, really.
Yeah. Either way, but we see it. No, I mean, okay.
Yeah,
So
we see it.
we see it differently daily. Okay, if you look at it tonight and then the next night, it'll look slightly different. It's not going to be the same size. You're not going to see it the same. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. Shu bechinas tikkun pegimas halavana. This all is about the idea to be mesakein the pegam in the levana. Again, the levana brought his case to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, well, okay, make yourself smaller, right? So the levana really started all the problems in the world. We used to blame the snake, but really now we could say it's also the levana, because that's what gave to the snake to be able to do what he did, because the levana did what he did.
The moon gave the snake?
No. The moon was first.
Right.
So because that transpired, okay, so then it lended for the snake to be able to entice Adam and Chava.
Oh, because the moon asked to be...
Yeah.
Had some gaiva in it.
Yeah, well, we spoke about it yesterday, where it said that it's Shnei Malachim, Ishtamshim B'Keser Echad. Who said he was a king? Where's his crown?
So already sinned, so to speak.
The Keser is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Keser. The Keter is lesson 24 in Likutey Maran. Oh, amazing lesson talking about the Keter, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's crown. Right? That's Hashem's crown. He's taking one crown. Okay.
It's interesting, if somebody's standing on the moon, so half the moon is always in sunlight and the other half is always dark.
Yeah.
What do you have to make the bracha? You know,
If he's on the moon?
he's on the move. Him ben Yom ben Laila.
Depends which side he's on.
He has to turn around. He has to turn that way.
So
Then you're home, and then Lila turns that way.
Well, no, he just has to look down and look at the moon.
All right, let's, okay.
Same
Okay.
thing here on Earth.
You go to different places. You go to different places, right?
sometimes it's light here, sometimes it's dark. And the moon, it's always dark. And the other half of the moon is always light.
Oh, so in the world also. On this one side of the world, it's light. The other side of the world.
But here it's always. There's never.
The moon is always getting wet.
Okay. All right, we're talking about the pagam. We're fixing the pagam of the moon. Okay, let's talk about Kamei Shekasav Sheshama Balayla Hanigun Sheosa L'Chvoid HaLevana. All right, Shachama Osa La. That we in the story again, right? In the story, so the Ben Hamelech, he heard this. Originally he heard this noise in the forest, right? He heard the noise, but then as he stopped running after his animals, because he realized those were his averas, and then he was working on tshuva, so then he heard the song. He heard the beautiful song, and we know there's a song in the world also. We just don't hear the song of the world because there's so much noise in the world, right? But there's a song, there's a beautiful song going on in the world, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu was always taking the world and nurturing the world in a way to bring it to its final, perfection, and that's really what's going on.
Well, there's always birds, and there's always the ocean going back and forth.
Yeah. Malbush Chodesh, because the sun is always giving the moon new garments. Right, because the moon only gets the light. He gets his presence, so to say. We can only see the moon because of the sun. Right? If the moon has no light of its own. The moon only gets the light from the sun. Right? So we're considering the light that the moon gets from the sun as a garment for the moon. That's his garment. Okay.
Is that true for us too?
What?
The sun isn't always out, and it comes out, and do we get new garments from the sun? I mean, we get our light from the sun.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how to...
Well, you do. You're wearing a shirt that's made out of cotton, right? Right. So that grew because of the sun, right?
Right.
Without the sun, the
Yeah,
cotton
but
wouldn't have
we
grown.
talked about the garment being on the
Right.
spiritual side,
And then let's say you have a wool suit, right? So the wool, right? So the sheep, right? The sheep are eating the grass, right? That came because of the sun. So so the sun is really involved in giving us garments as well. Okay. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, we're compared to the moon, right? So the sun, that's a good connection, right? We're compared to the moon. Klal Yisrael is nimshul l'levana. So since we're compared to the moon, we get the moon gets its light, its garment, so to say, from the sun. So too we. Okay. Shul b'chinas chidusei the Sahara. This is the idea of the moon making itself smaller, which is a hint to the Golas where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is hiding His name from the world. All right. Kamavaya sham beremez b'soif ha'maisa ayin sham v'chein inyan shalavana tayenes im ha'chama madua kishata bo ein li shem. The Levana again is complaining to the sun. Right here we go. The sun is giving it its light, and now the Levana goes back. He's still complaining. Hey, how come when you come around, I don't have any name? No one knows me anymore. Unbelievable. Once a thief, always a thief, they say, right? Once a Okay, ayin sham. Ki kol inyan achila fanal. All of the things that we're talking about, the exchange. Shu bechinas hasheket bechinas cheshkas laila. The darkness of the night, right? The whole thing of the darkness of the night, and the whole thing of the chiluf in the story, the whole thing. All of those things that we were discussing for the last few weeks. Genau. Nimtzach mebechinas miyot hayareach, because it comes from when the moon makes itself smaller. Okay, va'al kain Ikar atikon hu bechinas chidusosei de Sahara shu bechinas milui pegima salavana. Okay, so that's pretty much the idea, right? So the moon is waxing and waning, right? And we learn from that we always have our Yeridas, and why we can compare to the moon, because we have our Yeridas, we have our downs. But we only go down in order to go up higher, right? We don't go down for the sake of going down. We go down for the sake of going up higher, and that we learn from the moon. Ki'akol bechinas achas v'kosher zeh b'zeh. It's all one unit. It's really and they're bound one to another. What is that? Ki kefi tikvan pegimas alavana k'may kain nidcha zumas hanachash ha'eved. When we can fix the levana, right? When we fix the levana, when the levana gets when it's fixed from its pegam, so that pushes back the zoom of the nachash, right? And the eved, right? The eved and the nachash is one unit, right? And we said when we make Hashem's light, anytime we do any mitzvah in the world, we're doing something in the world, and we recognize Hashem, that act that we do is actually subduing the light, the fire of the other side, the fire of the nachash and the eved. Okay? And this, what?
Are we ideally supposed to be the sun, meaning where the sun's bright all the time, and so there's no ups and downs there? But the pagam, the moon has it, it's like, okay, it's dark, it's up and down, but there's some nice ideas about it, because don't worry, it keeps coming back, just when you think it's out. But like fixing that is the pagam, that it's going down, and yes, it comes back up, but like, and then it goes back down again, no matter what. But ideally, you want it to be a sun.
We do and we don't. Now, the problem is the sun has a little bit of gaiva. The sun has a little bit of gaiva because he's always bright and he's always shining and he's giving everything to the moon, right? But really, that was a change. Really, the moon was supposed to be bigger, as bright as the sun, right? It was supposed to be as bright. It was as bright as the sun, but only Hashem made him get smaller. We're compared to the moon because we also were exchanged. We're exchanged. We're not who we are supposed to be. The same way the moon is not who it's supposed to be. The same way the moon waxes and wanes, we have our Yeridus and we have our Aliyahs. Same idea. When we fix ourselves, we cause the fixing of the repair of the moon. You understand? We're compared to the moon. Klal Yisrael is nimshalu l'levana. The same way you have to search out, that we spoke about that yesterday. The same way when the Edom would come, right, and they would say to proclaim the new month, right. So they would see the sliver of the moon, right. It was so small, and they would go to the Bezdin in Yerushalayim, right, and then they would question them. Well, how did you see it? Where was the moon? Where were you standing? What elevation were you on? Right. And how were you facing? And they asked them all these questions to make sure that what they saw was actually the moon, right? And then it's amazing. The Gemara tells us there was a whole percent. They figured out how did anyone know that it was Rosh Chodesh? What they would do is they would light a fire, and there were guys on the other mountains. And they would see a fire. They would light their fire, and everyone would light a fire around Eretz Yisrael, and that's how everyone knew it was Rosh Chodesh. Did you know that, Yossi?
Yes.
Yeah, you see that?
We know actually what those mountains are.
You know, yes. So
if you ever drive Sartava is one of them.
90. When we drive 90, right?
Yeah, 90 exactly opposite, like
Saratova.
Saratova mountains. Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that amazing? It's amazing, right? Yeah, it's all.
I understand the question is, I guess, should we strive for the sun state, kilo that always bright, or the moon? We strive to be always bright, but that's a very tall order. I mean, it's a tall
We want
order,
to.
It's impossible in this world, kind of. It's impossible without.
Right. But we're learning now in Hilchas Birchas Hashachar, right? So lahafchem bein yom uvein laila. In other words, there is in our life, we have the concept in our life yom and laila, right? Because of bechira, right? It's going to be an aspect of shemesh when Mashiach comes, when Hashem's light is going to be very bright. We learned yesterday, Yossi, that Hashem hides His light from us because it's just too bright and it would be blinding if he would reveal His name to us and His light to us. It would just be too much. The same way we use the example when you're riding in the car and you're coming towards sunset, the sun is so bright, right? You ever see that, right? That you have to put the visor down because you just can't see. But when you say, well, what do you mean I can't? It's bright, but it's too bright, right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu does that, so to say, he's memayed himself, he lowers himself, and he retracts his light from us in order to help us so we can advance. Right? Okay. So yeah, we want to be the sun, but okay.
Next time.
The sun will be when Mashiach comes, and it'll be bright, and Hashem's name will be revealed, and we'll be able to handle it, because we won't have the zoom of the nachas, we won't have all the other things. That'll be all gone, so then we'll be able to handle it. We'll see soon, very soon. When this batel hashekesh shalachiluf, and then we'll be able to nullify. See that? In this batel hashekesh shalachiluf, in this kala ha'emes ba'olam, and the truth will be revealed in the world. Isn't that so nice to think about? Isn't that so nice to think of the world? The truth will be revealed in the world. That's just a beautiful statement, right? Ad sheniske sheyavay Mashiach tzidkenu shu ben hamelech ha'emes. Until that's going to happen, so Mashiach's in the cup, because again there'll be such a repair that happened, and there'll be such a revelation of Hashem. Mashiach is going to come. Oh wow! And Mashiach is the real Ben Hamelech. V'yigale ha'emes b'shleimus b'olam v'yisade ha'kisei kisei. Like in the end of the story, when the Ben Hamelech came into that city, right? He made his way into the city. So they said anyone that can rearrange the kisei hakavod, to arrange it the way you're supposed to sit in the proper place, he will become the king. He will be the king. So that's what we're seeing over here. That b'shleimus b'olam v'yisade ha'kisei. In other words, he'll take this kisei back. What does that mean? He'll bring all Nishmas Yisrael back. Because all Nishmas Yisrael come from where? Tachas kisei hakavod. Right? So when the Mashiach is going to come to bring back all Nishmas Yisrael, and that's what is called rearranging and relocating the kisei in the right place, because all the neshamas will be back in place where they're supposed to be. Kiseder, in order. Wow. Kiyeda kol shorshei neshamas b'shleimus heichen mekayma. Because really the shorshei neshamas, right? We spoke about this before, right? We have there are 600,000 source neshamas, right? There are 600,000 source neshamas, and then there are branches from the source neshama, like there are branches from a tree, right? A tree has a trunk, but there could be many branches coming from the tree.
So there's 600,000 trunks.
600,000 source neshamas.
Right, which in this case would be a trunk.
Well, I'm using that because ki ha'adam hu eitz hasada. The Torah says ki ha'adam hu eitz hasada.
Right, so each Adam is like that.
Right. So in other words, each neshama is the source. He's saying the shorish of the neshama.
But from that has another.
Many neshamas coming. That's how we can have millions of Jews in the world, right? Baruch Hashem. Right. If there's 600,000 source neshamas, that means you'd only. And if they're only the source neshamas,
Do we each come from a source neshama?
Mm-hmm.
You come from a certain.
we come from different sources.
I come from a different.
We don't know. Maybe we're from the same. I don't know. I don't.
Eventually,
Well,
they all the
600,000. So
The Arizal says that we are really we're all from a Gilgul. We're all Gilgulim, right? We were all here before, and he says that it works out that people seem to, so to say, gravitate back together. Those that we had before, they get back together somehow.
Oh, it's so good to see you again, Father.
Okay, listen. I'm sorry. This is what
But everybody is connected.
We're all connected.
At the side.
Yeah.
One thing.
That's right. Agudas Yisrael. Right. We're all connected. Right. Okay. So Sharshei and Neshamas B'Shleimus Heichem Ekayim. They know that place. V'tikuna shall call Neshama or Neshama. And they know the tikkun of each one of the Neshamas that comes from the source Neshama. And they're all extensions from the source Neshama. Yossi, the way we can understand it is like you're the father in the family. You have father and mother. You have children, right? So those are an extension from you and the parents, right? That's an extension. It's the same idea. We have the neshama, this Source neshama has its branches, its offspring, so to say. Okay?
All of these 600,000 came from Adam Arisha.
Yes. Yeah. The 600,000 source neshamas were in Adam Arisha. Yeah. Amazing, right? Oy. Okay. V'yatakein kol tikunei hashchina shehem bechinas mita u'shulchan v'kisei hamenorah v'yasada kol karoyu. So in other words, really the Shechina, we know that the Shechina is really the embodiment of all Klal Yisrael together. That's the Shechina. All Nishmas Yisrael. So when it says that the Shechina is in Golus, that means Klal Yisrael is in Golus. We're in Golus. But then we know when the Shechina is gonna be brought, when Mashiach is gonna come, and all the neshamas will be brought back to where they're supposed to be. So everything will be sholem as far as the shulchan, the kisei, and the menorah. Everything will be, isn't it nice, the menorah? Yisada kol kiroya, the menorah will be in its proper place on Har HaBayis with binyan bayis shlishi. It'll be right there where it's supposed to be.
What does that kind of mean? The souls will be back where they're supposed to be? Like
They're doing the right thing. They wouldn't be lost anymore. They won't be lost. They'll be the kibbutz goli. That's the kibbutz golius.
we're going to have more than 600,000 people.
Baruch Hashem, right.
And each one is
All the
right.
all the branches will be back to the trees, and they'll be back on connected to the source neshama, and everything will be growing brightly, and everything will be very vibrant, so to say. Now things are disconnected, things are disjointed right now. So we're going to have that unity. Everything will be brought back together. The achdus that we keep talking about, right? Like we say over here, if we are one, we will be victorious, right? Right? Is that what we say here? That's the expression, right? If we are one, we will be successful. Okay. So we said yesterday that it says al case ka, right? When it says with Amalek, Kodesh Baruch Hu, it says al case ka. So case means, what is case? So it's not sholem, right? Missing the aleph. And the case ka is missing the vav hey, right? It has a yud k, but it doesn't have the vav k, right? It's missing that. But then that'll be sholem, because we said so long as Amalek is in the world, so long as we have that pure riches, that pure evilness in the world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name can't be, his kisei is not sholem. What does it mean his kisei is not sholem? There's all the neshamas of Klal Yisrael is spread out. They're not together as one. And how do we make Hashem's kisei covered? We all get back together, get back in the program together. That makes the kisei shalom. Because again, it's all, we're all one. So we're all on the same program. We can make the kisei shalom. And then when that happens, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, Mamela, could be shalom, because we can accept the light because we're all together. Okay? Now, and then it'll come back that the or of the levana will be the light of the moon, will be like the light of the sun. Amazing, right? Could you imagine that? It will never be dark. It will never be dark.
Wait, then the or of
the moon will have its own. Well, he'll have his own light. He'll have his own light.
So then, meaning even in those low, dark places, it turns out
it'll be bright. It'll be bright. Now we understand what it means when we say Kiddush Savannah. We talk about this, right? Remember, we see these words here. Right? We say that, right? We want the light of the moon to be like the light of the sun. It will happen. It's going to happen, guys. So you see that? Isn't it so nice? Erev Chanukah, we're reading something like this. Come on, isn't that nice? Wow. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to go up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take, he's going to go up there, and he's going to take his judgment on Har Esav. Wow. Lachnia levatel es memsheles bechinas ha'eved shehu bechinas Esav Amalek. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take his nekama, right? Rav Shlomo's talking about the nekama, right? He has all his classes on the nekama, right? This is the nekama we're waiting for. HaKadosh Baruch Hu to take revenge. take revenge.
Got it.
Take revenge on Esav and Amalek. And today we know it's Yishmael. It's the same thing. It's all one, right? It's Gol. The Medrash says that really Gol, the last Golas Edom is really going to be Golas Edom and Yishmael. And as you see, Golas Edom is the Edom, the church, and all of that is pretty much gone, right? They don't have no more power. But now it switched over to Yishmael, but now the world is scared of the Ishmaelim, right? Amazing. V'tachzar melucha lemekayma bebechinas v'hoisa laHashem amlucha. The kingdom will be to Hashem. It won't be to all these doodleheads in the world, right? That they think they're the kings. They think they're the leaders. Everyone will recognize and everyone will know that Hashem is the Melech Malchei Amlochim. Shu bechinas Malchus Mashiach. That's the Malchus when Mashiach is going to come. Shu Malchus the Kedusha. Shekol Malchusa Yia Rak Ligaleis HaEmes Ba'olam. The whole point of Mashiach coming is to reveal the truth in the world. The truth in the world, and to to be mevatel the avdus that the world placed us in, that we placed ourselves in, right? We placed ourselves into this avdus that we are. L'idea l'chol b'ay olam, that everyone in the world, every single person in the world, l'chol b'ay olam, everyone, ki Hashem hu Elokim. It's really Yud Kei Vav Kei Hashem. He is Elokim. He is the God of Din. It's one Hashem. There's no two gods. There's one God. There's the God of kindness and mercy. There's no separate God of judgment and punishment and all of that. That's one God. Ein oid, only Hashem. Ein oid milvadai. Wow. V'oz yiskayim, v'ya Hashem lemelech al kol haaretz. Vayoyim avu yeh Hashem echad u'shma echad b'mheira v'yameinu. Amen. Isn't that so nice? Wasn't that beautiful to start? But now look at the next one. We still have a little time, right? Yeah. So let's go. So now we go to Mem Beis. Here we go. Mem Beis. V'al Kain. Again, this was what we just learned now as a preview for this lesson now. Now we'll understand this lesson, Mem Beis, 42. Okay, everyone ready? Here we go. V'al Kain heim shmoini yemei Chanukah. And therefore we have how many days of Chanukah? 8. 8 days. 8 days. What? That's right.
There's Shmonim Malachim.
Yeah, if you go through Sefer Malachim, you'll see the different kings that we had. I don't know the list of kings. I'm sorry, but I take Rav Nassan's word for that. Okay, if you want to look it up, we could look it up. Do you want to take his word for it?
I trust him. That makes sense.
He has I have a note over here. Ish Baishes, David, Shloima, Rechavim, Avim, Asa, Yeshafat, V'Yehoram. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we go. Okay. So we do know it. See that? Okay, there we go. Baruch Hashem. Shehem kineged shmeinim malachim shel Edom shel Molchu lifnei melech malach melech livnei Yisrael. K'maisha perish Rashi b'malachim beis kapitel ches ala pasuk b'yomav posha Edom mitachas yad Yehuda v'yamlichu aleihem melech. Right, so we know what happened. We had this here in the Nes of Chanukah, right? We had Antiochus. He was the king. He was the king of Greece at that time, right? Antiochus. He was the king, and he placed his rule over Eretz Yisrael, right? Perish Rashi Sham Shmeina Malachim Molchu beEdom. There were 8 kings in Edom as well. Right? Ha-memunim b'sefer Bereshis u'kinegda molchu b'yisol shmeina malachim, and there were 8 kings of the Jewish on the other side. Because we know every time you have, whatever you have on one side, you always have balance on the other side. It says that Zelu mazeh osa elikim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps the world always balanced. So we had 8 kings of Edom, so we have 8 kings of the Jewish people. Always keeping it balanced. Ki Chanukah bechinas hamshachas or haemes. Well, we spoke a lot about this. What is Chanukah? drawing the light of the emes in the world. We're drawing HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light in the world. Litchois HaSheker, to push off and to subdue the lies of the world. Shu Bechinas Malchus Ha'eved, Ba Yedei Achilif, that came about through the exchange. Right? We're trying to nullify that. We're trying to push that away. Shuhu Bechinas Heicholei Hatamuras, that's all about the chamber of exchange where those things took place. Hanimshachim Bechinas Shviras HaKelim, that came because of the breaking of the vessels. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu had the Shviras HaKelim, and then there were the klipas that came about from the Shviras HaKelim, all because of the Chet. Emisas Malachim Kayadua. Shemisham Achiza Shmeina Malachim Shemolchu Beretz Edom Lifnei Melech Livnei Yisrael Kayadua. Here we go. Val Yidei Kedusha Shmeina Mei Chanukah Mamshichin Or Emes. So through the 8 days of Chanukah, we're drawing in the light of Hashem's truth in the world. Lahag b'yishmeina malachi Yisrael al shmeina malachi Edom. We're trying to give an edge over the 8 kings of the Jewish people over the kings of Edom. La'achniya hasheker shu ha'eved lahag b'emes, to subdue the eved, to subdue the servant, to subdue the whole idea of that, the servitude, that whole idea of lahag b'emes, and to bring up the truth, the light of Hashem. Shu bechinas malchus the kedusha shall ben hamelech ha'emes. Shu bechinas malchus Yisrael. That's all about malchus Yisrael, and we will be the kings of the world. It will happen again, and this is why it's so beautiful that right now, when there's such a battle going on in the world, in the UN, and all the things that are going on, it's Chanukah is coming right now. It's so amazing, mamish amazing. We have this beautiful edge from the Chanukah, and we can have in mind when we light the candles what we're doing. Right? We want to bring Hashem's light into the world, bring more of Hashem's light into the world, and put out the fires of the world. What?
I want to get this idea again.
Okay.
So 8 days of Hanukkah connected 8 Melachim Kedusha. It's the first time I ever heard any significance behind the 8 kings.
Okay, fine. That's good. We always learn something new every day.
I see the Psukim how he makes it, but then he carries it into Bechinas Hamshachas or Ha'emes L'Chod HaSheker.
To push out the sheker.
Yeah. How do we get there?
How do we get to what?
How do we get to that? Meaning, I understand 8 days, 8 and 8, right? 8 days of Hanukkah,
right?
8 kings, fine.
8 kings. Now we take the 8 of Hanukkah, add it to our 8 of our kings. Right. Now we have 16 over the 8.
And now we have 16 over Shmona Malachu Be'edom.
Edom.
So I got it. So now we have 16 over the 8, so like it's 2-1 over of good.
We get the edge, exactly. We have the opportunity to bring Hashem's light into the world now. This is such an amazing thing.
So it's the Jewish kings plus the light.
The Jewish kings plus the 8 days.
Plus the 8 days of Hanukkah.
8 days.
One king gets each king gets a day of Hanukkah.
And then that already, that's Shviras HaKelim, Misas HaMalachim. So we're able to kill those 8 kings of Edom.
Yes.
Through this light, which is our Emet.
Exactly, because all the 8 kings of Edom are trying to make us believe that we are the servants.
And then that's the Melech HaEmet that's going to win.
The Melech HaEmet that's going to win, that's going to be Mashiach. That's Mashiach.
That's Mashiach.
Yeah, that's when the Kisei will be Sholem and Hashem's name will be Sholem. Is that amazing?
This is all from the Zohar.
Original.
This is all from the Zohar.
This is from a lot of it is from the Zohar. Yes.
And the source for the Chamber of Exchanges, that's the Zohar.
That's yeah.
So why are there 7 lights in the temple then? I never understood that.
Why are there 7? Because there were 3 and 3, and then 1 in the middle. Is not okay. Why
is it
would
a menorah?
The menorah, right? The menorah and the base. I mean, these were 3 and 3, and the 3 always looked to the 1. The 3 on one side, they were always facing towards the center of the shamas.
So why does the one we light have 4 and 4?
We have 4 and 4 because we have we honor each night of Hanukkah with another candle.
8 nights.
So there's really
There's a machlekes. Do we start? Beis Shammai says we start with 8 and we go down to 7, then we go down to 6, and right. But Beis Hillel says no. We are meisef v'haile, right? It's meisef v'haile or meisef v'haile. So we go like Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel says you start with 1 and you add to your kedusha. Keep adding. You keep adding. That's what we follow for Chanukah. That's how we do.
I guess his idea of at what point was there that separation again between, is it 7 days or 8 days? There's 7 candles in the temple menorah, but there's 8 in total in our menorah.
Right, so that's why. Well, now we understand why in Israel they don't call it a menorah; they call it a Chanukah. Right? It makes sense because it's not. We don't want to mix it up.
Okay,
we don't want to mix it up with the menorah.
That's
Okay.
Right? It makes sense.
I was mixing it up.
Right. Yeah, because in America they call it a menorah.
Yeah.
Over here they don't call it a menorah.
Even sunlight, menorah.
It really makes sense, Yossi, right? Because it's a Chanukah, because it's a special menorah for Chanukah. Yeah, for Chanukah.
That Ki'ilu mimics what it looked like in the Beit HaMikdash.
But we're not allowed to do something like we had in the Beis HaMikdash. We wouldn't be able to make one with 7. We're not allowed to replicate things of the Beis HaMikdash, right? We wouldn't be able to do that either way. So that's why it really makes sense that they call it a Chanukah, not a menorah. It makes sense. You make that differentiate. This is not a menorah. This is something special for Chanukah.
Right. And that's a big, even kavanah wise, to think, like I'm doing the karbanos big, now that we say in the morning.
Yeah.
That's my tummy time. That's my chatas time.
Yeah.
This isn't the menorah in the Beit HaMikdash. You're not. The kavanah isn't I'm lighting the menorah in the Beit HaMikdash ki'ilu like it.
Right.
No, it's the miracle of Hanukkah and everything that's associated with it.
Right. But there's an idea. Even the Chanukah candles and the shamash of the Chanukah candles are very special. People don't understand that, right? But it's brought down in the Kava Yashar, and I had a class on that yesterday. That it says Srafim Aimdim. Srafim Aimdim. It said like this that you had in the Beis HaMikdash, you had the Kohen Gadol would light the menorah. Right, that was his job. It was a big job to light the menorah. It was a wonderful thing to do. So the shamus is really responsible. We use the shamus in order to light the menorah, right? To do that. And we have a custom that really the shamus is always a little bit higher. You ever notice that? Most of the time, the shamus on the Chanukah, on the menorahs, are a little bit higher than the rest of the candles. They're not on the same level. Right? We agree with it, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there's a separation, right? But why? Because it's really, the Zohar says, because of Srafim Oimdim, there's the Malachim are standing above, always above the candles, and so that's what is an idea that even the Shamas is even above the other candles. And we brought a beautiful thing. Anytime you light a candle for a mitzvah, right? Anytime. Right, the ladies light their Shabbos candles. We learned about that. Right, you light the Chanukah candles. You light a yahrzeit candle. You're doing it for a mitzvah. So that candle is a very, very special thing. It's a very, very special thing. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves when we do the light. And it was brought down from Rav Shlomo Luria that when that when he would learn. So sometimes he would have a little candle. He would have a little candle that didn't really have too much wax left in it, but it would run through the night. It would run through the night as he had 3-4 candles, and he would be changing them. So each one, and that shows that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves when we learn Torah. And all the tzaddikim that would learn by the light of a candle, and they're a very, very special thing. Also, another thing is that the leftover oil that we have from the candles, right? The leftover oil and the psoilus, the wicks that we have, we really should not just discard them. We should really use them for another mitzvah, right? You're supposed to take it, and this is something I use for a mitzvah. This is something holy.
What?
Burn a chametz.
Put it in a bag. When you burn your chametz, put the chametz together with the thing, and then use it as fuel. Use it as fuel to use a mitzvah to another mitzvah, right?
These guys think of everything.
What'd you say?
Well, these guys think of everything. Yeah.
So
I got the
No,
lulav,
you got the lulav, right, also.
Yeah, the lulav and the adasim, the aravis, yeah, use it all together. Take all the mitzvahs together, and then you get rid of it. What do you use it for? To get rid of the Yetzer Hara. I take all my mitzvahs to get rid of the Yetzer Hara.
Right.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Then we learned another beautiful thing. When you're making the bracha, right? Anytime we make a bracha, right? So there are kvutzot of malachim, right? So when you make a bracha, let's say you're making a shahakal, right? So every time you make a bracha shahakal, you're creating a malach. Did you know that? And then really when you make that bracha, all the malachim are always coming around. They come around you. When you're going to make that bracha shahakal, and all the malachim while waiting to say amen, to welcome in the new malach that's going to come to their group. Did you know that? It's very lively. You think you're alone, but you got all these millions of angels around you. Is that amazing? Right? All the times you made shahakal. So the Kava Yosha said amazing. You know, when you're making the bracha of Chanukah, comes once a year. So you can make the bracha right on the candles. You're going to make that bracha, right? Lahadlik ner Chanukah. Lahadlik ner Chanukah, right? In the bracha of Lahadlik ner Chanukah, there's 13 words. There's 13 words in the bracha. Shasa nisim laveseinu is also 13 words. Says the Kava Yasha that the 13 is connected to 13 Yud Gimel Midas Arachman. The 13. So again, we want to say Lahadlik ner Chanukah, and if you say that, you have 13. Some people say Lahadlik ner Shel Chanukah, but then you'd have 14. It doesn't work out, right? But then some people, there's a new one that they say Lahadlik ner Shel Chanukah, Shel Chanukah. They make it into one word. You understand? If you have to say the Shel. If you have to say the Shel, right? Otherwise it works out so nice. You have 13 and 13. 2 times the Yid Gimel Midas Arachman. You understand? So it's such a nice thing that we have so many beautiful kavanas in the bracha, in the things that we're doing in the candles. And the main thing is to light your candles with a level of joy. Light your candles with a level of joy, because again, it's a beautiful thing that we have this opportunity to light these candles, to bring a Kadosh Baruch Hu's light into the world. That's what we're doing.
is that also what we're doing when we?
What's the significance of 13?
Yud Gimel Midas Arachman. Yud Gimel Midas Arachman. 13. The 13, the principles of faith by the Rambam also, right? Right? So it's pretty good, right? Nice ideas.
When we were lighting in the menorah in the temple, it was also to bring down the light?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're always bringing Hashem's light to be bright in the world. That's what we're trying to do. To make Hashem's name famous in the world. Right? So we said when you take the candle, when you're lighting, just to review, when you're going to light the shamas, right? So have in mind, I want to take all the fire of the world, and I'm going to use that in order to, which is the Moirei Eish, all of the fire of the world. I want to take that, and I'm going to light the candle. When I light that candle, I'm making the Moirei Or. I'm using the Eish in order to light the Or. Because I want to take all of the fire of the world and I want to bring it into the Or of Hashem. And that's what we can have in mind when we're doing it. We're doing it anyway.
That would be a great, and we can, there's so many deeper things, but that's the ideal kavanah.
That's a simple kavanah. And I have 13 words. I'm trying to bring the Gimel Zarachman.
And you want to be doing this more so, you're talking about for the klal, or like Yassi's...
You're doing your part.
Yassi's Morei Eish of all my...
Of you and the world too. No, you agree. Bishvili nivra oilam, right? Bishvili nivra oilam, right?
Right.
That means the world was created for you.
Right.
So that means, hey, I'm responsible for the world. Okay, world, I'm taking all of that nonsense now, and I'm going to light Hashem's light. How do you like that, huh? Nice. Something we can do. It's very simple. Nice ideas that we can do, right? And again, one other thing that you should do is anytime you can do a mitzvah, try to wash your hands first. Try to wash your hands, before you do a mitzvah, try to wash your hands. It's a nice thing to be machaber the mitzvah. The Kava Yasha says that maybe people will look at you like, oh, this guy's a frummy, right? So he says, you don't get to scratch your head or tie your shoe. Then you go wash your hands.
Yeah.
You have the whole that's why you're washing it, because I touched my shoe.
That's a Kohen, that's why I go wash my hands before we get the blessing too.
Right. So try to wash your hands, and again, try to think about what you're doing. A little level of joy. Try to have as much level of joy, even though in the house there's always things going on. To try to share that. But if you know, my goal is I want to have simcha. I'm trying. You'll see there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens. It always happens like that. You want to have joy? Oh, these things are going to... But again, try your best. Try your best to do that. Remember, all the malachim that you created, all the times that you said, Lahadlik Ner Chanukah, all those years, they're all going to be coming down to greet you tonight. Isn't that nice? Wow. It's unbelievable. A guy can be all by himself in his apartment, whatever it is, right? And standing by, he's lighting his menorah. He thinks you're not by yourself. You're always together with Hashem. You have all the malachim there. We just don't see it. If we saw, we go crazy. Right? If Hashem gave us, if we were able to see what's going on, right? We don't have those eyes. We don't have the eyes to see what's going on around us. We have no idea. But the Zohar teaches us a little bit what's going on. And in Mitzvah Hashem, we have just to believe that every time we're doing something, we're creating different malachim. And all of those malachim are there to protect us. All of those malachim are there because we created them. Right? We created them. So again, when you create the malach, try to create the malach with using a lot of level of joy. So you create a very strong malach. Okay? The more joy you put in, the greater the malach will be. And then all the malachim will answer amen to your bracha. Isn't that nice? Everyone should have a wonderful Chanukah. And please have in mind when you're making the brachas to try to bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light into the world. Kol Tuv.